Welcome to Pursuit and Pause. I am Paige.
And I'm Hannah, and together we are working towards living slow, intentional, and deeply rooted lives.
Yes, and today we are talking about making a house your home. So, Hannah, do you want to talk just briefly, since we have before in other episodes, about our living situation? Sorry about yours, and I'll
Yep.
talk about mine.
So, quick reminder, I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with a roommate. So, I have my own bedroom and my own bathroom, but then the rest is shared space. And then this is where I live. I do not decorate much at Jake's house. I
Mhm.
have my mother decorate. So, I do have a couple homes that I do work in, but
Yeah.
making a house a home is one of my favorite things. How about you, Paige?
Yeah, I am still making my house a home, even though I've been in here in my new home with Josh for almost a year already. Um, I have 4 cats, so the upkeep of just keeping my house clean is fun, and a husband. But I live with Josh and my 4 cats and our tiny little home that I love so much, and yeah, we're just trying to make it ours every day.
So the most important question, or where you should start,
Yes,
is what feels like a home to you, Paige? What
yes.
makes a house feel like a home?
I think it's imperfect. A house doesn't have to be picture perfect like you see in the magazines. I think a little bit of, not like dirty, but like a little bit of a lived in feel makes it feel homey and just cozy. Fuzzy blankets everywhere on the couch and big fluffy pillows and a candle burning. That's like my favorite. I just love a cozy feel to the house. How about you?
As you can tell, I hate fluorescent lights. They're like the devil's lighting. So for me, home feels cozy with warm glows. It means just a home, like Paige, somewhere that feels lived in. I don't want something that feels super sterile, super
Yeah.
modern, super
Mhm.
clean. I do love like simple decorations, empty wall space, white space. I don't like clutter and like
Mhm.
overpiled like piles or super decorations hanging everywhere. But for
Yeah.
me, a home is someplace where it's cozy, it's lived in, it has books, it has art, but
Mhm.
it's not overpowering. Um, my pottery, I like my pretty things,
Yeah.
and but at the core, to me, home is the people. And
Mhm.
whether that's just me and my space and my things or my family or Jake or places like that also feels like home.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about cleanliness. What's your standard of clean?
Well, given that it's me
Yeah.
and not everybody else, um, I everybody has a different, so let's start here, right? Everybody has a different standard of cleanliness. And maybe your standard of cleanliness is a lot stricter than somebody else's. And also, like, the standard you were raised with maybe not be the standard you uphold. Now, there is a level that is unsanitary and unsafe and yada, yada, yada. But we're just going to throw that one out the window. And we're going to say everybody has a tolerance for cleanliness. And that's good.
Hmm.
I am not obsessive about vacuuming floors like that. That doesn't really bother me. Um, but clutter really bothers me. I don't have piles of clutter like around. I try to get rid of things when like that. That is like one of my biggest pet peeves is piles of junk or things that you don't need hanging out.
Hmm.
Um, I clean my bathroom monthly. I don't need to clean it more. It's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not obsessive about it. If it doesn't gross me out, I don't clean it. Now, the kitchen, given that we share the kitchen, we keep the kitchen pretty clean.
Hmm.
I wipe off the stove when I make a mess. We
Yeah.
load and unload the dishwasher, try to keep the sink pretty clean. All of those things, that matters a lot more to me. So I like
Yeah.
open workspaces, especially in the
Hmm.
kitchen. You're not going to find me clutter up the counters.
Yeah.
Um, I can't stand to me, counters are not storage places, they are working places.
Hmm.
So I'll unload and load on counters, but by the end of the night, they're pretty open. The only exception is if something's cooling
Hmm.
or or if I'm like prepping for the next day, like I need to remember to grab something.
Yeah.
That's pretty much we leave our main chunk of counter pretty much like that all the time.
Hmm.
And so I don't wash the windows very often. I
Yeah.
don't have any animals. I don't press my nose up against the window or put handprints on it. So I'm not
Hmm.
obsessed with it. I clean the mirrors every so often because I'm not like 7 and I used to spit all over the right, like, as a little kid when you don't know how to brush your teeth, like,
Mhm.
toothpaste goes everywhere,
Yeah.
but I don't care about that anymore. I do care about laundry. I wash my clothes every week. Like,
Mhm.
I wash my bedding and my towels probably monthly.
Mhm.
Probably should be more, but, you know, that's what I'm comfortable with, and
Mhm.
that's what I can easily accomplish in my life, and I think that's the most important thing. What is
Yeah.
accomplishments to you? I don't dust
Mhm.
because I find
Yeah.
that kind of pointless.
I need to
Like,
be better at
I
dusting.
rearrange, I dust,
Yeah.
but I don't like, that's not a chore I do weekly, so
Yeah. Um, you would freak out at our house right now, Hannah, because I'm adjusting to a smaller living space. I'm not used to such a small kitchen, so I'm still learning how to make my kitchen not feel so, I want to say, like overstimulating, not so cluttery, because it's so small and you have big pots and pans and you have like, all kind of Dutch ovens and just so I'm learning all that still. So it's still a little too cluttery for me right now. But cleanliness to me is at least like if you do have the clutter, like have it, your things organized,
yes.
at least neat, not sloppy looking. I'm never super picky. I've never been a super clean, like organized person. I kind of am just like, I, with my 4 cats, I have to sweep. I have to vacuum. My kitchen, I can't stand when I have a full sink of dishes.
Mhm.
Josh and I tackle that together. I do have Josh living with me, and we have multiple rooms. And sometimes some things get left behind. I'm like, oh shoot, I really need to clean that. I found that just having a routine with some things, like I've noticed, I really do need to sweep more often because of my cats and their long hair, and it's just yeah, I need to dust off more often. Dishes, I'd like to have a clean counter space, but like I said, with my small kitchen, I mean, I literally have like one counter and that's it. And then I have my butcher block table. So I really have limited space. But I've just found ways to adapt to that small space and
Mhm.
finding like using storage bins to store things away, just making things look more neat so it's not so overwhelming. Um, I have to vacuum the couches often. All the fun things. I bathroom is a monthly thing. Bed sheets I prefer to do like every other week. Realistically, though, it's like a monthly thing. I just try my best and adapting to owning a house when I was used to a small apartment. But my apartment had a bigger kitchen in it than I do now, so I'm still adapting. And I think the biggest thing with cleaning is and keep maintaining cleanliness in the house is just forming a routine that
Yes.
works for your family. You know,
Yes.
some of us have kids, some of us don't. Some of us have all kinds of animals, some of us have no animals. And I kind of envy you because my house would be so much cleaner if I didn't have
Yes.
animals. But
Yes.
yeah, that's just kind of like my cooking schedule. It kind of ebbs and flows, like with what needs done, And of course, I do laundry almost every day. I feel like it ebbs and flows with what needs done. That finding your routine is extremely beneficial, especially when adjusting to owning your first home. It is an adjustment coming from living in an apartment and having a certain amount of space to moving to a house and realizing how many things you have and need to find space for. It's just a little change and a big adjustment, at first. So that's what I'm still dealing with.
Yeah, and routines make everything better. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
do laundry the same day a week.
Mm-hmm.
Dishes, obviously, you can predict when you do
Yeah.
when our dishwasher gets full, we run our dishwasher, but
Mm-hmm.
I also wash all of my sourdough dishes usually by hand.
Yeah.
Those get washed right after I
You
use
don't
them,
want
right?
them to sit.
Habits.
Yeah. Yep.
Take out the trash when it's full, like, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a home where I did chores, like, every like, Monday I did a chore, Tuesday I did a chore, da, 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 and it's a little different when you're not as dirty as how like,
Mm-hmm.
we had 6 people
Yeah.
living in a house. Like, we made a lot of mess. Our
Yeah.
dishwasher growing up ran at least once a day, if not twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a little different.
Yep.
Um, but knowing what is a routine for your current stage of life and being okay with the fact that it's going to change. Like 6 months down the road, it might change.
Yeah.
My laundry day has moved. It's been the same for probably about 2.5 years because at my old job, I was off on Wednesday. I worked 4 10. So guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday was the only day I could do laundry.
Yep.
Convenient. I still do it on Wednesday because I work from home. It's just
Mm-hmm.
easy. That's
Yep.
about when my laundry basket's full because it's
Mm-hmm.
just me.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, when I'm doing Jake and I's laundry, that'll
Yep.
be twice a week probably
Yeah.
because it'll be 2 days worth
Yeah.
of 2 people's worth of clothes.
That alone takes adjustment. Just being used to like helping someone else do their laundry, just keeping up with other people's messes,
Yeah.
it's a whole adjustment phase.
Doing dishes when you're cooking more, right? Right now I cook once or twice a
Mm-hmm.
week. That's enough. I'm going to be cooking most nights. Like things like that. Everything is
Yep.
always in flux. Everything is always going to change and being
Yeah.
open to that.
Yeah.
Find a routine, test
Mm-hmm.
it, figure it out.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Adapt.
Yes.
Um, this kind of goes into sharing your space with someone. um, Hannah, how does that go in your apartment? Sharing your space with pros, cons, just your experience.
I love our apartment. Anna and I are not like bestest of friends, but we get along really well. We're really good at cohabitating.
Mm-hmm.
We both actually scare each other all the time because we're both pretty high strung, quiet humans.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of us will walk out of the bedroom or walk into the apartment and scare the living daylights out of the other one because we're both like in our own heads.
Yeah.
But Anna doesn't really care about decorations and like how things look, which is great for me because I kind of do whatever the heck I want.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a lot of input. She just likes it and it's fine. But just learning how to share space, right? Navigating little
Mm-hmm.
things. So like we have one of those little mm, clean dirty signs on our dishwasher because one,
Yeah.
we had a
Same.
period of time where we're pretty sure our dishwasher was running itself. It was
Mm-hmm.
terrifying. But just ways to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Talking to people. Do do I tend to unload the dishwasher more than Anna? Yeah, but I'm home during the day. She's not. And by
Yeah.
lunchtime, I'm ready to put stuff in it. So I just unload the dishwashers. And
Mm-hmm.
don't get like resentful of the things, right? You both are adults, you're both pulling your own weight.
Yeah.
If there is an issue, communicate it, move on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People are different, people
Yeah.
have different preferences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love washing dishes, but I really enjoy doing laundry. I
Yeah.
don't mind that. So when I'm married, that's the conversation that Jake and I or will have like, okay, what do you like?
Mm-hmm.
What do you not like to do? I do not like cleaning toilets. That is like my least favorite bathroom cleaning chore. I
Mm-hmm.
will do so many other things over that, right? So figuring that out and navigating. For me, the
Yeah.
biggest thing is just be open about it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
throw away somebody's stuff without asking, right? Don't move things that somebody uses. Figure out how to share space. We both actually have our own sets of dishes. So I have really two cabinets that primarily are my
Mm-hmm.
dishes, and then my dishes, and then like all of my spaces and stuff. We have one silverware drawer that we have pretty much everything in because our kitchen has one drawer in the entire kitchen. Yes, one. And then we have a rack that has three drawers. And then we share space in things. We share pots and pans. Some of the stuff we inherited from the people who lived here before us.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a series of girls, single girls living in this apartment. Um, you just communicate
Yeah. Yep.
and don't hold something too precious.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Precious, keep it in your private space.
Yeah. Communication is extremely important in all aspects of life, especially when sharing a space with someone else. It's great when you can find the right person that's kind of like you and you guys just adapt together. Josh and I are very much alike. We're not the cleanest people where you'll find our space totally just like spick and span, but we do really well with the routine. You mentioned you don't like cleaning toilets. I don't either. I call these things boy jobs jokingly to Josh. And Josh will do that. And, he will do the litter box. Just like he grew up with tons of cats. Like it's nothing to him. But I call those things boy jobs. There's just some things that like I just don't really care to do. If I had to, I will. Taking out the garbage. Like that's just kind of something he does. And I'll just load the trash bag for him. There's just certain things that we just kind of adapt to and we kind of learn like, okay, he does not like doing laundry or, we both really hate doing dishes, so we just tackle those together. It's just a communication thing, and I mean, honestly, that's what it comes down to. If he does something like leaves tons of hair in the sink after he shaves, I communicate to him very, very nicely that I don't like that, and he sometimes tends to forget that, but he
Yeah.
gets better at it, and it's just intention and making sure it is communicated. And sometimes we fall back into our normal ways, and like he doesn't like when I leave all the lights on in the house. There's things I do that he doesn't like, and it's just it's adapting, and
Yeah.
kind of reminding someone like, hey, don't do this, please, or in a nice way, and yeah, you
And
just
if it really bothers you, maybe you
mhm,
should do it because maybe it doesn't
exactly,
bother them at all, right?
exactly. It's like, well, I might as well just do it myself, you know, unless if it's
And not
becomes
in a
too, yeah,
resentful way. Like
exactly,
you
yeah,
don't want to become that person that's like, "Oh my goodness, they can't do anything." But you know what? Guess what? They may not even notice. Like there people have such a different tolerance for
hmm,
things.
yeah,
Like they don't even notice that it could
yeah.
be an issue. So
They're
just
not
if it
doing
bothers you, do it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, they're not doing it to spite you. They
No.
literally just aren't thinking about it. Like their mind is somewhere else, thinking about what they want to, do or what they're watching. They're not thinking
Yeah.
about, oh, yeah, that's right. I left the cabinet doors open. Like,
Yeah, I do that.
yeah,
It
I
drives
do
Kate
that. I'm
batty.
really bad at that, and I'm really bad at the light, leaving lights on.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, I mean,
very yes, and very rarely is it weaponized incompetence. Like
yeah,
I see that term thrown around a lot
hmm,
on social media and women complaining.
yeah,
Sometimes it is they just don't know. Like
hmm,
the amount of times that my dad doesn't notice things or my brother or I even don't notice things, right?
hmm,
There's the joke, right? No one can find it, but mom can find it in 4 seconds. A
yeah,
lot of it is skill and habit and turn.
hmm,
And sometimes, most of the time, it's not intentional. Most of the time, it's not because someone's trying to be lazy. Communicate what needs to be done,
yeah,
share the load firmly. If it really bothers you, make that your responsibility. And maybe
hmm,
there's something that really bothers them, make
yep,
that their responsibility.
yep,
At the end of the day, most of these things can be solved with this thing
hmm,
called communication.
yes, yep. Solves most problems in relationships of
Yeah.
all
Is it fun?
kinds.
No.
Yep. Yep.
So now for the more fun part.
Yeah.
Let's talk about decorations,
Mm.
style, pretty things, all of that
Yes. Yeah.
stuff.
I am not one to follow trends or a certain aesthetic. I like certain aesthetics, but I kind of, in my life right now, I'm more trying to get rid of things and buy things that fit the cozy vibes, you can say, that I'm going for in my house. But yeah, right now I don't have a lot hung up. I would love to go to Hobby Lobby or wherever, Etsy, and decorate the heck out of my house. But right now that's not the case. I'm more of in a decluttering phase. I do like to decorate seasonally. I do have holiday decorations, of course. It's my favorite thing to do is decorate for Christmas. It's so much fun. Um, but I really don't put too much effort into fitting a trend or anything like that. I feel like once you put that pressure on yourself, you'll never meet that expectation of how you want your house to look like. It's not going to look like that girls on Instagram that has the perfect photos and the perfect like clean house, and it's not going to look like that, and it's just the reality of things. But I do find joy in decorating, kind of making it your own, making it unique. Painting too, just making it your own. And I'm still working on that with my house, and I can't wait till I can actually paint a little bit more, make it more warm and just welcoming. And hang up stuff I have from the wedding photos and all that good stuff. Hannah, what about you?
I have a lot of opinions that don't fit a lot of people's. Like, I really care about how things look. Not in like a judgmental way, but
Yeah.
for me, like I like what I like, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it's like super trendy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
much of a warmer tone girl,
Yeah,
like
me too.
creams, whites. I'm not a huge like gray. I
Neither.
grew up and it's fine, whatever. Like if that's what it is, I can work around it.
Mm-hmm.
No problems. I'm very good at working with the resources, but if
Yeah.
I pick, it's creams, it's warmer,
Mhm.
touches and warmer colors. And I love art, but I don't like mass produced art. I
Yeah.
tend to whatever I can find. Pretty much everything I own is from the thrift store.
Mhm.
I used to be a very mini thing decorator, so I liked lots of things. I liked lots of things on shelves and gallery walls and stuff. I've gotten a lot more simplicity, a lot more breathing space.
Mhm.
I have a soft spot for pottery and a soft spot for like hammered brass
Really
things.
pretty. Yeah.
I love pottery. I know how much work it is to throw things, and so
Mhm.
I have a really hard time passing up a beautiful piece of pottery at a thrift store that's like cheap because I know how much work it is. And then brass.
Mhm.
I'm a sucker for warm tones, like I said, woods. But I do try to keep it very simple.
Mhm.
So a lot of my art has switched. I have beautiful pieces that I love, but if it's big and it's framed, I only buy it if I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. Everything else I buy prints. So I
Mhm.
change out
Yeah.
things. I change out my art on my gallery walls. I have two permanent gallery walls. I have nails in permanent locations. So that's my
Mhm.
definition of a permanent gallery wall.
Gotcha.
I have
Yeah.
nails in the wall in two
Switch them
places.
out. Mhm.
Swap out pieces as we go.
Gotcha.
There's a couple pieces that stay the test of time. I have a mirror out in the living room that has yet to leave its spot, but everything around it changes.
Yeah.
And I try to keep all of my art in a pretty small area in my closet. I have a spot where they're tall enough. I go through it on a regular basis. I give things
Mhm.
away. Um, I don't pay much for it, but
Yeah.
I like a lot of open space.
Yeah.
I have a lot of books, so I decorate with my books. Um, I am that person that organizes your books in
Mhm.
rainbow, like not necessarily rainbow order, but they're
Right.
my books are in color
Mhm.
gradient
Mhm.
because I actually know books by what the cover looks like. So, side little story that I find hilarious is when we were kids, we loved library book sales. They were like the best thing ever. And so at the end of the book sale, my parents were ready to pick to buy the final books. So they would go, we would all go and find our own piles. They would sit me down next to the pile. And they would show me everything, and I would tell them if we already owned it or not because I could look at the cover and tell you if we owned it or not.
Yeah.
So for me, color order is super easy for me to find what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
and height order. I don't like some of my books are arranged by height. Some of them are,
Yeah.
I think, but I have my books. I just love unique pieces. It's like I
Mhm.
said, not something that's super mass produced. I like
Yeah.
to make things.
Yeah.
The macrame, if you're watching
It's
on
pretty.
YouTube behind me, I made during the pandemic. I dyed the blue. I like to do things. This lamp above my
I
head
like
has
that too. Yeah.
college that
Mhm.
went to my freshman dorm with me. But for me, it's layers, blankets,
Mhm.
things on the walls,
Yep.
cozy, clean.
Yeah. I'm like you. I don't like the gray, like the gray and whites and just the colorless things that I just feel like are all over now. But I feel like we're kind of starting to have a shift. I've noticed on my Instagram that, people are starting to paint their walls like a green or just like more of those creamy brown colors. And I love that because that is more my cup of tea. Luckily, when I moved into this house, they already had like a brown creamy color wall to it. It wasn't all gray or something. So that's why I kind of just moved in without painting. But yeah, soon I might even go a little darker than what it is. I don't know. It's fun though to be able to customize your own space, make it your own, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Everybody's style is different, and
It
just
is
because you don't like it doesn't mean they
exactly.
don't like
You
it.
may
So
love
don't give
gray.
unsolicited advice, please.
Yes.
Uh, I grew up with a mom who painted like all kinds of colors. We had an
Hmm.
orange. Our schoolroom or formal dining room has been orange. It's been purple. We've had red walls. We've had green. We've had yellow. We've had all the colors.
Hmm.
So um,
That's how Josh's mom's house is. There's
we
like orange, there's a light pink, there's a lavender downstairs. I like it. I like that. But
It's more gray now. There was
hmm.
a period of time where we thought we may have to move, so they were painting
Hmm.
already. They were planning on it, so we
Gotcha.
kind of simplified to grays. She's itching to change it again.
Yeah.
Um, I love like real wood tones. Like if
Hmm.
I was picking in my dream world, I like brick, I like creams, I like
Hmm.
exposed boards, and I like an oak,
It's
a,
so pretty.
a brown, like not an orange hued or a
I
gray
love the
hued.
greens. Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. In my forever home, like those are the colors you'll see is the earthy tones. It's more my
Yes.
jam. But I mean, if you like the gray, then I mean, you're in luck because it
Go for
is
it.
almost everywhere right now. So yeah, just do your thing.
The biggest thing is finding what your style is. And
Yep.
maybe that means you have to take Pinterest and Instagram off your phone for a period of time,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Like stop looking. Uh, she's no longer much on social media, but a
Hmm.
lady I used to follow, Elise Cripe, I think that was how you said her
Hmm.
last name. She went through a period of time where she was looking through old like 2000s decorating books
Yeah.
because she was flipping through like physical books because books aren't determined by an algorithm. So she could figure out what she
Hmm.
actually liked versus
Good
what the
idea.
algorithm thought she liked. So that always struck me, right? Like you don't realize how much technology knows about us and feeds us on purpose, right? Because it
Yep.
says, "Oh, you liked that, you pinned that, you saved that, you stared at that for 12
Hmm.
seconds longer." It's going to feed you more of that. So
Yep.
sometimes it takes getting to something analog that's not going to try to read your mind
Hmm.
to see what you like.
Yeah.
Um, Look at the historical things. Look at the things that
Hmm.
stand the test of time. Like, find what you love and embrace it. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be trendy.
Yeah. When you go visit old buildings, around where you live and get inspiration from that. Like, oh, I really love, the burgundy floor, wall, whatever, like whatever it is, like just embrace that, like Hannah said.
And you can make anything work, right?
Hmm.
Like sometimes the option isn't to paint or rip out the floors or do all the
Exactly.
things. Like
Hmm.
learn what you love and adapt.
Yep.
Like I can make a place feel like home anywhere I am
Hmm.
based on the elements of me that I bring to the table,
Yeah.
regardless of what the canvas I'm painting on
Hmm.
is.
Yep.
Um, be patient. You don't need to go to Hobby Lobby. You don't need to go to Michael's. Wait at the thrift
Exactly.
stores. You will find what you want. You will find it
Hmm.
on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Buy the things that make your heart sing.
Yep.
And you may buy a lot of things and return a lot of things to the thrift store. That's okay. Guess what?
Hmm.
You spent $7 on it and you decided you didn't like it. It's not the
Yeah.
end of the world, right?
Yeah.
$7.
And I've
That's
lived
why I love
in.
the thrift store.
Yes, yes, I love thrifting too. I've started to love thrifting ever since living at my house. I just appreciate it more. For some reason, I have the space to like make it my own with those things that you don't find in Hobby Lobby or anywhere else. But and you don't have to when you first move into your first home or a new home, you don't have to rush and make it your own. Like some people, will paint and then move in, or like sometimes that's not always the case. I couldn't do that. It was kind of a rushed situation, and it's okay to just kind of make it your own over time. It doesn't have to be an immediate, like, oh man, my house doesn't look exactly how I pictured it. It takes time. It does. It's
And
hard
no matter,
work to
yeah.
paint and do all that, It takes time within our busy lives as well to upkeep and all of that stuff.
And you're going to love whatever you love.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
So now we're going to talk about the opposite of decorating, which is clutter, which I am
The queen.
relatively minimalistic. I'm the queen of decluttering. I
Hmm.
haven't met something I didn't want to declutter.
Hmm.
Uh, so let's talk about what does that look like and how does one navigate decluttering and stuff because
Hmm.
we live in a world of consumerism.
Yes.
How does that look for you, Paige?
Oh man, I'm really bad at getting rid of things. I have things from years and years ago that I don't even touch anymore. That just need to go to Goodwill or other thrift stores, or just needs to be thrown out because it's just so old. Just things that I don't find use for anymore that just take up space. And for me, that's just like going through old clothes. I have so many clothes from high school, so much clothes from high school that I need to get rid of. I don't fit. I don't know why I'm even keeping them. It's kind of like emotional attachments to things. But that just looks like to me is just grabbing a garbage bag, throwing whatever in there, getting rid of it. I like to have someone keep me accountable when going through it. I might have Josh be like, okay, what about this? And then I'll be like, oh, yes, no. And he's like, you never wear this. Like, we're getting rid of it. Like, that's kind of what I need. Because decluttering can be hard when you do have those attachments to things. But that's kind of what it looks like to me. Just start in a space, pick a spot you want to declutter, start there, only focus on that spot. Don't look at the next spot you want to declutter. Just focus on one. totally declutter that and then hop to the next, because it can become very, very, very overwhelming for me, especially because I think I struggle a little bit with executive dysfunction. I'll start something and not finish it. So that is my issue, and that's why I like to have someone with me to, keep me focused and on the mission of actually getting rid of things, because that's kind of another reason why I struggle with decluttering. But that is one of my goals this for the rest of the year, is to get rid of things throughout my house that I no longer need. But that's what it
Yes.
looks like for me in my life of clutter. I'm making Hannah cringe right now with all my clutter talk. But Hannah, tell me a
I
little bit about your process. I could probably learn from you right now.
Yeah. So I will be the first. Let me preface. I am not very attached to things. There is a very small handful of things, like
Mm-hmm.
physical objects, that I have attachment to. I am very much a if it all burned down, I'd be okay kind of girl. But I also have been in love with minimalism and simple living and less is
Mm-hmm.
more for since high school, early college. Um, which is a very long time in the grand scheme of my life, right? A good percentage of my life that I have seeked and really stretched the muscle
Mm-hmm.
of not being attached to things.
Yeah.
For me, I'm constantly kind of filtering through things. So my closet switches twice a year: spring, summer, fall, winter. I declutter as it goes up and as it goes into the box. So I will go through last season's stuff and take out everything I didn't wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like pretty ruthless. If it doesn't fit, if I didn't wear it last year, it's gone out the door. I'm not saving it for an if case. I'm not saving it for a what case. Same with the stuff that's coming out that I saved last year. I'm like, why did I save that? I don't like that anymore. I don't care. I keep it very small. I think my wardrobe is under, I think, 60 pieces. I actually have on my Substacks, I have a post about everything in my wardrobe. So I can link that below.
I
I'm
recommend you all
very,
read that.
I'm very simplistic with that.
Yeah.
But that's what brings me joy. I'm not a fancy dresser. So for me, easy breezy to wear clothes matters.
Mm-hmm.
Books was my like kryptonite for a very long period of time. I think we moved so many books to my apartment. I had the equivalent of 3.5 bookshelves completely full, pretty much. I am probably down to about 2 bookshelves worth of books, or less. I'm pretty consistently decluttering books, because what I've learned is just because I have the book doesn't mean I'm going to read it, or two, just because I've read the book doesn't mean I still need it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to, I don't keep a lot of fiction. I actually don't buy a lot of fiction,
Yeah.
because for me, most fiction is a one-time read and done,
It's true.
excepting a very few subset of authors and like
Mm-hmm.
books that like make me feel the most
There's like,
alive.
yeah.
Those I buy.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I read it from the library, or I buy
Mm-hmm.
it for under $2 and it goes right back to the thrift store as soon as
Yeah.
I'm done. Nonfiction and religious nonfiction are my weakness, and I have gotten really good at getting rid of it, right? If I'm not referencing it, if I don't think I'm going to reference it again, or I don't think it's something that I would recommend to somebody, I let it go. I
Mm-hmm.
used to hold on to a lot of theology books, a lot of Christian literature of all kinds. And as my theology and as my worldview has changed, I'm pretty ruthless. I just went through and I have like not garbage bags, 4 Walmart bags worth of books ready to go, because it's like I no longer read this, or I no longer fully believe this, or I wouldn't recommend this to somebody, or there's parts of this that I like and parts I don't like. I don't need it anymore, because I live in a world where the library can get me pretty much everything. I can
Yeah.
Google it. Now, I do keep things that are reference material. So I have a lot of homesteading books. I have a decent amount of cookbooks. I
Mm-hmm.
only keep the cookbooks that I actively cook out of or actively will cook out of.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure I'm going to cook out of it, I make a list of the recipes and I go through
Mm-hmm.
them. The back of my planner has 4 recipes, list of sticky notes, and at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the year, if I haven't really worked through those, as cookbooks are going by, whether I like it or not,
Mm-hmm.
not using them. For me, I don't keep things I'm not actively using.
Yeah.
I don't just holding on to things doesn't actually save you on a rainy day. It causes
Mm-hmm.
you more stress and anxiety having
Yeah.
it there.
Yeah. I
Same with
think.
my kitchen.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I think what I struggle with and what may others may struggle with too is just making the time to
Yes.
actually go through the decluttering phase because it's not fun. Like, you're going through all your junk that you don't need, and if you have a lot, it can take a long time.
Mhm.
Especially if you have a whole house full of just stuff that is kind of just taking up space, then you could probably get rid of it, but you're like, but maybe I'll need it this day, and you really don't need it at all. Like, just things like that. I think making the time is the hardest thing. Like, that for me, I gotta actually plan it, set time aside to do that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I always recommend if it's time that's the problem,
Hmm.
15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
one drawer, one door, one bookshelf, one
Hmm.
half a bookshelf, one part of your clothing rack,
Hmm.
whatever it is, 10, 15 minutes. The other thing is I think a lot of time it's overwhelm and like it's dreading the whole process. Once
Yeah.
you get started, it's a lot better. So there are YouTubers I love on YouTube that do decluttering content
Hmm.
or minimalism content. I would watch a lot of those things. I'll be really inspired.
Yeah.
Uh, the minimalism documentary by the minimalists. It's on YouTube. It's one of Jake and I's favorite. We both watched it so many times. It's one of
I
our
have to watch
comfort
that.
movies.
Hmm.
Watch things like that. Put them on in the background. Listen to something or watch TV while you get rid of stuff, right? Do it with somebody else. I'm helping my mom. We've spent the last 3 or 4 Monday nights, an hour at a time, going through the basement,
Yeah.
back room. We have, everybody has the room where things go to die. So we started. All we did was the pantry shelves one day.
Hmm.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
Then we just did the fabric last week.
Hmm.
Who knows what we'll do this week, right? We take it in small subsets, and everybody has a different tolerance for holding on to things.
Yep.
Be patient.
Hmm.
Um, we do have a couple of rules when it comes to my dad doesn't care about what he wears for the most part. So we have a couple of rules for my dad's clothing. If it's in a baby, the initial rule was if it's in a baby's book, it's gone. You
Yeah.
can't have it. It's too old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's more like if it's older than my high school graduation, you probably shouldn't.
Hmm.
It's probably like falling apart, Dad.
It's about time to get a new shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
Though we do buy, and by we, I mean my mom and I, we
yeah.
pretty much trust the man. He'll wear whatever we put in his closet.
Hmm.
But, right, people have different tolerances for that.
Yeah.
I'll help my mom go through her clothes. Anybody who knows me in my real life, like if you ever need help decluttering things, I will sit on your bed, I will sit on your couch, I will sit on your floor, I will sit in the mess with you. I enjoy it. I will
Yeah.
tell you yes, no,
Hmm. Like,
beware.
throw that away. Like,
I'm like, yeah, no. My mom, she'll be like, need to ask your opinion. And she'll hold something up and she'll just look at my
hmm.
face and go, that's what I thought. I'm like, I didn't say anything. She's like, I can tell. I'm like,
Yeah. Like, I can read your
don't ask me
face.
if you don't want the truth.
Yeah, and you hit another good point is, if you hold on to all this stuff, it'll make your mental health just, it'll overwhelm you at some point. Whether you're not affected by it now, it will affect you later. Like, once the stuff just keeps piling on that you don't need, you'll run out of space. Your house will start to look like, you're running out of space, and it'll mentally just overwhelm you. And that's where I'm not at the point where I'm running out of space, but it is to the point where it's starting to look too cluttered to me. I'm like, man, I really just need to get rid of things. It's just time. And it does take a toll on your mental health, but you feel better after you clean anything. It's just, I think it's been beneficial for someone that deals with anxiety or depression
Yeah.
to actually get up and do that.
Clutter has a huge mental component
Hmm.
on like stress and overwhelm.
And it can reflect your mental health too.
Yep.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of research that says decluttering, clearing out your space will make a huge impact on your mental health
Yep.
because all it is you're living in an endless to-do list.
Hmm.
And I am a firm believer in that. And I fully support
Hmm.
those. So I will put some of my favorite like
Yeah, I'm gonna
YouTubers,
listen to
people
him.
to watch.
So please.
I love a book. I've read a
Hmm.
lot of books on decluttering. but it matters, right? Your house has to feel like your home, but you
Hmm.
also have to have control over your things. Don't
Yeah.
let your things control you.
Hmm.
When you're spending so much time maintaining your things, you're not living.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And
So,
take care of your space. You pay for that rent, that mortgage. Take care of your space. Like, don't don't let it things swallow it up where you can't even enjoy it.
yeah.
Where you don't even like to be under your roof. So it's very
So,
important. Yeah. Make your house a
house,
home.
make your house a home. It is so worth it.
Yeah.
And everybody who comes into your life will be grateful for it.
Yes. For sure.
And we thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We hope to see you next time.
And in the meantime, keep on living. Intentionally.